Let's get horny.
Hey, this is Paul Stanley, and you are listening to Pod of Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
You found it.
Tom Kodal is here.
Oh.
I dropped it.
Hey, Tom. Welcome back. It's been a week.
Thanks for having me back.
We should keep this going. An every other week
How
treat.
prominently was he featured on that episode? I didn't even listen to it.
One of the guys.
I just chimed
So he
in
was
whenever I
he
could.
was mixed in like the whole time.
Yeah.
With 4 mics going.
Yep.
Yeah, we
like
needed,
we do tonight.
we
Just-
needed some Vivian Campbell expertise, and we brought
He didn't deliver.
Yeah.
I did not.
He was 0 for 1 on the Vivian Campbell.
He knows
trivia.
less about Vivian Campbell than we know about Kiss, so which is saying something.
Yeah. Well, hey. Welcome to Pod of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in Kiss podcasting. It's your buddy, Andy. I'm joined by Nick, the Garlic Dragon, gnarly Nick himself. I'm joined by Chris. And also our buddy Tom. Also featuring Tom. You know, when Chris and his wife owned the cafe they used to own, I remember this one flyer for a performance that was hilarious to me at the time. This girl was performing like an acoustic set. And whatever her full, well, we'll say her name was Tom Kodal, whatever, full name. Performing live, and it said, also featuring Carlos. That was the, like the opening act. I was like, is it Carlos, or is the opening band called also featuring Carlos? Because that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Or the band could have been featuring Carlos.
Yeah, it could go any of these directions.
See, I think that was intentionally done to intrigue the reader of the flyer.
It was probably,
Or it was just a stupid oversight on her part.
yeah, it was probably a sold-out performance.
Maybe she didn't know the guy's last name.
Yeah.
Like, there's just been this guy rehearsing with me. I feel embarrassed that I don't know his name.
She couldn't remember.
Yeah, just put Carlos.
So don't include that information.
Also,
It's like, also featuring Carlos, I'm going to that show. Had that not been on the flyer, I wouldn't be going to that show.
yeah.
Said no one ever. So
The place was packed.
Yeah, with Carlos fans. Or featuring Carlos fans. Or also featuring Carlos fans. We have no idea.
Or because the vanilla bean cheesecake was in stock.
Well, that could be a thing. Maybe that's why Carlos was there. Maybe that's the name of the cheesecake. I don't know.
I would imagine you were there then, Nick.
I was all over that, man. Get out of here.
So how was
Yeah.
Carlos?
I
Was he good?
couldn't hear Carlos.
did you guys ever cross paths with that guy? Carlos?
I don't know who Carlos is.
He was
no.
good.
Yeah.
He was
He was good enough.
I know who she's talking
Okay.
about.
I was going to say, I don't doubt that he was good, but it's just... And it makes sense. You own the place, so you should know
Well,
who
the
it is.
guy deserved more respect than to just have his first name included.
Or
on the-
was he one of those people that's so good that you can omit the last name? And
I was just about to
everybody,
say,
like,
no, it wasn't a Madonna thing. She
Oh, well.
just was lazy and didn't get his last name on there.
It's like,
He deserved better than
Well,
that.
we're giving Carlos his due 15 years later
It's
here.
like, yeah, I emailed him. He didn't write back. Just print it.
Basically, she was the Sol Vosk to his flying errands. Just an unfortunate pairing.
Well, in that
It
case,
should have never probably happened. But
in that case, Carlos sold the place out, and the headliner brought 0 people and actually cleared the room out.
pretty
so.
much.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that's what-
Everybody went down to Kilroy's afterwards.
Speaking of Madonna, the crash course in the Kabbalah,
Oh,
those
God.
idiots unleashed on the room.
yeah.
One of the most outrageous things I've ever seen, and considering the source, that's saying something.
I would imagine Chris retreated to the basement at that point.
Or were
Am I
you
wrong?
so shocked
Were you
that
like,
you
I
had to
have to
watch?
see where this goes?
Yeah, it was one of those things where you're just like, I have to see. This is so bad. I have to see how this whole thing unfolds.
So there's a band that played. This is who knows what year, 2000.
I don't even know if this is
4,
even
3.
worth getting into.
Well, I'll just make it a quick sentence. But they did some bizarre thing where they did a Kabbalah educational thing between songs, and Chris thought this is the perfect pairing for Nick and Andy's band to play together.
Yeah.
And it actually was probably a good pairing. So
well, yeah,
it's
I
just
mean,
funny that that's
trust me, there were far more mismatched bills in the world. I tried to
Yeah.
avoid that when I could, but
Yeah.
It was impossible to match you guys up with anybody, really.
Yeah. I mean,
And
we
like
were going
an
to
idiot,
blow
I was-
anyone off the
I was
stage.
the only venue in this entire country that booked those guys twice, so I had to I had to get creative with the bookings. Finally, I just gave you guys the whole night.
Yeah.
because, you
Yeah.
know,
It's legitimately true, though. We never did a show twice at the same place. We never were invited back anywhere.
We did.
See, Nick's gears
wheels
are
are-
grinding.
Well, there's
He's
one.
coming up
There's
with
one
something.
venue, but as far as it was like at the Hammond Armory,
Oh, okay.
which
Like Battle of the Bands. is
yeah,
that what
which
that used
which
to-
really yeah.
Someone, well, it was like someone else rented it out and
yeah,
invited
so
you
that
to
doesn't
play.
really
So
count.
it's
I
not the
guess.
same.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
the same management asked us
Right.
back ever.
Actually, I think it was a fundraiser for deaf people, so it was a perfect, perfect place for those guys
A
to
huge
play.
success.
Yes, they loved
Sold
it.
out. Yeah. Great stuff.
This band looks fantastic.
And
They all
these
said-
gyrations actually translated into some sign language that the people responded to. So
Yep.
strictly by accident, which is how the magic happens pretty much in any creative endeavor.
That's exactly correct. And that's what we're doing today, right here on
And-
Pot of Thunder.
And not to go back to it too much, but I think we can credit Tom for us even knowing each other and this podcast even existing, right? Because Tom.
Oh my God.
Tom was he was asked back all the time.
Okay, so I guess this is Pot of
I
Thunder.
don't know how that happened.
This
Before,
is-
wasn't that before Chris ran it?
No, I think we
It was
were there
probably-
every time Chris.
Oh, okay.
Every time Chris was there.
This is
Then-
a Pot of Thunder history lesson.
Yeah, and Tom.
the meeting of the Jones
and
brothers
then-
and Chris.
Yeah, and then we went to go see Tom, and then
We never split the bill with anybody. That's amazing.
Didn't need to.
Well, you guys didn't need to.
Wow, that's
Actually,
that's
the-
high praise.
The Flying Errands didn't really need to either, but I saw an opportunity. Basically, I didn't want to give a whole night to Solvask.
Right.
because
You had to put them
A,
somewhere.
there would
Or
be
Carlos.
yeah. A, there would be 0 people in attendance, and B, I would have to sit through an entire evening of their music. So,
I still remember we drew 138 people that day.
yeah.
I was proud of that.
You guys drew. So,
Yeah.
so you know, hey,
Yes.
for a strictly business standpoint, it wasn't the worst thing in the world
No.
to have you guys play.
Until Dave Tomko took the mic.
Oh, well.
Well, yeah, here's what I remember, if we're going to quickly go down this road. Tom's band was playing at the cafe that Chris and his wife owned. We didn't know... I'd never even been there before. We didn't know Chris. Was that first time when Nick played bass in the band?
So, yeah.
I think so.
So Nick wasn't permanently in the band, but you guys needed a bass player, and Nick played the bass.
Correct.
And I came, and was it at that one that I did like the halftime show? Or was that the second time?
I think that was the second time.
I think so.
And it-
Okay, never mind. Right
Yeah, because
Throw
put
in
it
the
this
fruit.
way. Had he done the halftime show, there wouldn't have been a second time for you guys.
Chris, do you remember the name of the halftime show? The band that Andy was in during the
was
halftime show?
that the astronaut's
it
wife?
sure was. It was between the two sets.
Yeah, that one's hard to forget.
That was painful. I tortured the audience. That was a mismatch.
Is there video?
There
Yes,
is.
There is.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we'll lay it out there for our current listeners.
Yeah.
But
Bizarre
I think
stuff.
that's enough talk.
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
that. We've
Yeah.
got something special on this episode.
I thought we already introduced Tom.
Well, you know,
He is.
when one thing is special, more special things tend to follow.
That's true.
So,
I like looking at Tom.
well, who doesn't?
It's,
Really?
it's intense right now.
It is.
I'm
We're
trying
just
to-
making eye contact.
I'm trying to focus, and Tom's sitting right next
Because
to me.
here's it's Nick, Tom, and Chris are all in a row on the couch, and I'm on the other side of this not so huge.
I was
like a
about to
bedroom
say
size.
if you're a human being, but I'm not even going to limit it to that.
Yeah.
If you're a living creature with any semblance of a libido, you like looking at Tom Cole.
yeah, he smiles all the time.
Yeah.
I do.
I
I do.
envy
I-
people who smile
must be
all
faking
the
it.
time.
Right.
I'd smile too if I shot 13 300 games in my life, or however
13
many.
now?
No, it's 11.
Still 11. Okay.
Jesus. He just fucking
He's a
says that like it's nothing. 11 300
He's a modest
games.
guy. He's like, why?
Clearly.
Why do I need more than 11?
Yeah, I'm good.
As we've
not,
said,
not striving for the baker's dozen, huh?
No. might hang it up after this year.
Wow.
Wow. You heard it here
That
first.
is, breaking news.
Breaking
You mean,
news.
you mean
Heartbreaking
league
news.
play or bowling forever?
League play.
Yeah.
I might take a little time off.
I can see how league play can be kind of
Is
annoying.
it
That
30,
you have to
33 weeks of
committed to that.
It is
every
pretty
week.
grueling.
It's long and
It's kind of like doing this podcast, you know.
It
You're
is.
stuck doing it every week.
But you get 19 weeks off and
Yeah, we
bowling.
don't get shit.
Yeah.
And you get the opportunity to shoot 300 games. We have the opportunity to do nothing.
Do you play cards whenever you get a strike?
no, we don't
You
do
don't
that.
do that with naked lady cards?
No,
Is that still a thing?
it's still a thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Boy.
a lot of people do
You
it.
get a strike, you get a naked lady
Yeah.
playing card. Whoever has the best hand at the end wins the pot for, what is it? A couple bucks per person?
Probably like
Now,
10,
it's like a
10
free
bucks.
round
Does
or
it
something.
have to be a naked lady card?
If
or
you're a
can't
man.
be?
If you are, yeah.
Depends how horny you are.
Well,
But yeah, that's what I remember from when we played. When I did 1 year of league bowling.
That was the highlight.
Well,
Card-
pretty much.
Cards.
I was just looking at other people's because I didn't have any strikes. So yeah. Anyway, what's going on over there, Nick? Is there someone here or what's going on?
Yeah.
There's a guy coming.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, good
as
answer.
per usual.
Okay. Good. Oh, there he is.
You
Nick
sure
usually-
that's a he? Do we know that's a he?
Well, I don't know. Tom Codal is in the house.
Well,
Well, have you-
that doesn't narrow it
You
down.
know, it was when I just ran over to the door. I had to like grab it and close it really quick. There's a gaggle of people out there.
Here, well, let me see.
I'm gonna crack open the window. There's
Open it. Jeez.
a bunch of insane women at the
Yeah,
window.
they
We haven't
because they
seen
know
haven't
Tom
seen a
is here.
crowd like this since Jacko dangled his baby over the
I thought he was going to say
railing of that,
jackal.
They want Tom to dangle out the window.
yeah, well, you know.
Dangle his baby out the window for
Yeah,
everyone.
over the railing.
There's a 300 ring on it, baby.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Okay. Wow.
A
So
rabid crowd. Out
good thing the
there.
door's locked. All right. No more distractions. Draw the blinds. It's time to get down to business.
Yeah, we've got work to do in here.
Nick, did you look at the package?
I did.
Good.
Who's this from?
Well, sitting next to Tom saying, "Did you look at the package?"
Yeah, I was
double meaning,
yeah.
but yeah, I did, and I right away opened it up and put it on.
Put
Look
it
at that.
on.
I
It's
put it
on.
on. Look at this
Get a load of that.
from what is it? Click Tea.
The Click Tea Shop.
Click Tea Shop with a K. Click, kind of kiss font. I've got this black T-shirt.
Sounds like an unbalanced load somewhere in the house.
Somewhere on the couch.
Another joke that you could apply to that Tom Codal.
I've got a shirt with the giant V on from Ace's Dynasty costume.
Get a load of
And
that.
I love this shirt.
Wow.
It looks fantastic.
It's beautiful.
Despite the fact that I'm wearing it.
It's like the broken glass kind of. whatever. Yeah.
So I think definitely.
You should Velcro a cape on there.
That's a great idea.
We had pajamas when I was a kid that had a little
Had the
little
cape?
Velcro things
Velcro
on the
cape, that's
shoulders
right,
and
yeah.
a little cape. Yeah.
They went way over the top with those costumes. Way too elaborate.
with Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you perform with all that shit dangling off of you?
I don't know. It's got to be a
It's
challenge.
just too much.
Yeah. So,
So I just I'm gonna give
hell of a
give
shirt.
shout out. This is a fantastic shirt. I
Yeah.
love it. Nice and soft. Tom's
It is
touching
very
it right
soft. Tom, you want to touch my pants? Offer still on the table from last year
From last year, I don't even remember that offer.
when we went to the Indianapolis Kiss.
I
Now you
remember.
remember.
now. Things got a little weird at the table.
Well, I have the same pants on just now. I remembered when we talked about soft shirts. I remembered I have these
Yeah,
soft pants.
This is a great shirt.
Should
It
we head
feels
on
great.
down to the local Carrabba's to
Is that where we
get,
touch
get,
pants?
No, get the Italian food
Oh, okay.
going.
Okay, sure.
Little sangria.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
You can dip bread and olive oil together.
I'm gonna I don't know go start up the sports
Okay.
machine.
It's-
Hopefully it's in a better mood today.
Well, be careful.
I hope not. I like the mood it's been in lately.
It's-
This is much better.
Is more
Turn to Corner a few episodes back.
Yeah.
think it senses the end is near, so it's gathering up the last bit of energy it has to take us over the finish line.
Yep.
Big fan of that.
So,
Yeah.
what happens now?
I'm just gonna let some of the lights shine off of my brilliant, I don't know, broken pieces of broken mirror,
Fractured mirror.
fractured mirror
Wow.
V.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder.
You don't think that's a coincidence?
I'd never thought of that. It's
That actually never occurred to me until I just said it
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
me
Maybe
neither.
there was a theme there.
we just uncovered something about Kiss, like we always do.
That was hot on the heels of the solo albums, and each one of them did a cut from theirs on that tour, right?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
All you got to do is talk it out.
It's really how it works.
Things, yeah.
It explains why Peter's costume was a big, giant sugar bowl.
Can't get enough of that sugar crisp.
All right. You ready? Did you have an
Yeah.
answer?
It's
Okay.
it's something shooting out of there.
Oh, God. We're dumb.
Tom sitting next to me, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This one comes off.
Unreleased.
It's called
Do you want to touch me now?
Well,
Oh, my.
well. What could this possibly be?
Hmm.
You want to go into the history behind the song of this title?
Yes.
I mean, we're not telling any hardcore Kiss fans anything they don't know, but we might as well set it up just because that's what you're supposed to do on a podcast. Talk about things, right?
Entertain.
This was a song that was originally intended for Revenge.
Okay.
A great album.
Did not get finished. I believe Andy's got some. Well, Andy might be looking it up.
That's what
A source that we are using for a lot of the information here, since it's not in our book, is Bruce Kulick's website,
I was just about to say, he goes into it a little bit.
which is really not the only information we have about this song, but a huge percentage of it that as far as what I'm aware of. Yeah.
Tom, is this song on your radar at all?
This
or
is not on my radar.
Do you know any of this intriguing background information?
No, I did not know.
All right, so
just,
we
you
will
know,
be
the casual
informed.
fan.
We will be informing one individual of what's going on here, the setup, if you will.
I'm so confused. So, I Googled, because I wanted to pull up that information. I Googled this, and I see where to touch a man while kissing him comes up on Google.
Okay.
Boy,
So
How appropriate.
while Andy goes down that rabbit hole,
yeah.
He's not coming back.
Dave the Snake Sabo,
Skid Row guitarist.
credited as a co-writer, though this is unreleased. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
with Paul Stanley. There's a little. Let's see.
What does it say, Andy? Where should
I'm
you touch a man while
All right.
kissing him?
So this is the second paragraph.
I'm gonna guess the taint, but
Oh
you
my,
know.
that's a little forward.
I'm just laughing at how bizarre. I don't know why this is a web page. If I were dating a man with a nice head of hair, you can bet your sweet bippy that I'd be all over that with both hands when we were kissing.
Well, that rules Nick and I out.
Well, don't worry. However,
Well, actually, Nick's got some down low, so that might work.
However, I'm dating a bald man, and while I love to grope his scalp when we kiss, sounds weirder than it actually is, I promise, I also still find myself more than a year out exploring his head, face, neck, and torso looking for spots to touch him when we're kissing. Why is this a thing? It's not even like a message board. It's like a
How did you
website
find
someone
this?
made. I looked for the lyrics or for the information about the song.
That's the thing. It's like, why is that the most highly ranked Google page?
I don't know.
Or, yeah. I can't wait to see the Google ads you're going to start getting served
Oh,
now.
God.
So Paul Stanley said about the exclusion of the song from the album.
All right.
It's a great luxury to have an album that's so good that another song is only going to detract from it rather than make it any better. As good as the song is, we didn't need it. The two met on with regard to Paul Stanley and Snake Sabo. The two met when Stanley was on the phone with Nikki Sixx, who had Sabo on the other line. They later discussed Stanley's possible appearance for Skid Row's recording of Kiss's song Come On and Love Me for Beside Ourselves, the EP, Skid Row EP. That's all I have on my end here. Now, Andy, do you have the Bruce information?
He's still reading that
I
other
sent
page.
to you.
He's oddly intrigued by that.
Well, I'm just picking up some new ideas.
Here, okay,
I do. No, I have
I'll
it.
give
I
you.
have it.
Okay, I can go into it if you like.
Well,
I do have it.
You're
here.
better at reading.
Something tells me the phrase "bet your bippy" is going to end up in Andy's vernacular moving forward.
Sweet Bippy. Don't forget that.
Bruce,
well, there
move
you
your
go.
sweet Bippy closer.
There you go.
Bruce Kulick said, "You bet your sweet bippy. This is the only song recorded but not released by Kiss from the Revenge Sessions."
All right, so they did record it.
And Bob Ezrin has a co-write, apparently.
Okay.
It's a classic rave up in the style of Revenge. Let's see here. There seemed to be some conflict about what to do with the chorus. On the demo, the vocals follow the ascending riff with the "Do You Want to Touch Me Now?" Or with the words, "Do you want to touch me now?" It's very Kiss delivery lyrically.
I would hope so.
The question was, is that good enough? And no one could come up with an alternate idea that seemed like a better way to take the song to its completion. So let's see. Just trying to find the...
Play the song until exhausted, in other words.
Yeah.
This track had full drums, all rhythm guitars and bass, and is a killer song. In typical Revenge fashion, this song had very clever parts, great riffs, and an amazing breakdown section in a Cream fashion. I never played any leads on it, though I wanted to badly. Blah, blah. There's more stuff, but that should give everybody kind of an idea.
Well, and also, what about that last thing it says?
How about it?
It says even without a reference vocal, you can tell this song was not a throwaway.
So why did it never see the light of day on a box set or...
Well, he's saying they didn't even do a vocal ever. They just did drums, bass, and rhythm guitars, and then just said, the hell with it.
Yeah, they never actually finished
were
it.
there lyrics or just a title? Do we know?
They had a chorus, but it sounds like the chorus was the title. I don't know if they were... I don't know.
But this is one of the few songs that has never leaked. Like anything. You can get just the most obscure... I saw a thing on YouTube a few weeks back. It was like 7 hours worth of Dynasty rehearsal.
Oh my god!
Like someone just had a tape recorder going
for
7 hours and got the rehearsal for some of the Dynasty songs. I mean, just
really,
yeah. There's stuff like that out there, but this, as far as I know, and as I looked into it, there's nothing. I asked a couple of experts, and they said no, there's nothing out there. That
So do you
they
think
know.
it's been destroyed, or it's just hidden very well?
It's probably just hidden. It's probably under lock and key somewhere. I wouldn't imagine that they, I can't imagine if you're Kiss, you're going to just throw anything out. Because you can profit from it at some point, I would imagine.
Last thing Bruce says here, I did make sure Kiss had this version available to consider for the box set, but ultimately it was not included for now. What more can I say other than Do You Want to Touch Me Now is an amazing track that's in the can. But then he said there's no... Is it
there's a lot of conflicting information. But the one thing we do know is nobody has ever heard it.
Right.
Nobody can speak about it or speak to it because it's never come out, which is pretty amazing in this day and age.
Yeah, if there's 7 hours of Dynasty rehearsal.
I mean, people are still discussing it to some degree, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be like the crown jewel of like obscure or never unearthed Kiss things.
It's got to
right?
be up there, yeah.
People have to still be digging for it, right? They got to.
I don't
Snooping.
know.
Yeah.
Hacking into Bob Ezrin's cloud.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that it, because I thought nothing was. I mean, I never understood how any of the stuff got out in the first place. I mean, I guess just maybe someone being a little dishonest that had access to it in the studio or something. But it just how rampant it is with every single artist. I mean, everything is on YouTube practically.
Like
But,
all kinds of demos and
but this-
bootlegs and stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is like a finished, well, not finished, but
Well,
as far
Bruce says it's in the can.
musically it's mostly finished based on his description. So I'm sure it sounds great. Oh,
Sorry.
more. Another one just got by the guardrail.
Yeah, he made it sound like he wanted to do a solo and didn't get to. So
All right, so well, as you may or may not know, I mean, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, you may not know this. Long-time listeners do know this. We're not in the business of just sitting here shooting the breeze about the music. We actually play the music. We analyze the songs. We play them until one of us wants to comment, and we bring a stop to it, and we talk about it. So we're not going to do anything different on this episode. So what could we possibly have to offer the people for the Do You Want to Touch Me Now episode? I'm going to turn it over to Nick, who, what you're about to hear was produced by Mr. Nick Jones. So I'm going to...
You like that, huh?
I'm going to turn it over to Nick, and he can give a little background, and we can chime in as we see fit. But take it away, Nick.
Okay.
Tell everyone what they're about to hear.
Okay, so before we started doing the podcast, I had read the thing on Bruce's website, and it's an intriguing thing that there's this song, and nobody's ever heard it really, and it's supposed to be great. So when we had our first meeting over at the chicken wing place over at BW3's, I brought a notebook with me to that dinner with Andy and Chris, and we talked about possible ideas.
Was it a dinner?
dinner.
Or was it a lunch?
It was a hot
It was a
dinner.
hot dinner.
Yeah.
It was a hot
It was
dinner.
my last hot dinner I've had, actually.
Brunch at B-dubs.
Wow. Yeah.
In Lansing, no less. What could be better?
Yeah.
High class Lansing.
So I brought a
Ghost
notebook,
town.
and in that notebook I wrote down some ideas that we had, and one of the ideas we had was to do our own version, somewhat based on Bruce's description of the song.
And also, if I may chime in, which I just did, so I'm going to chime in.
Mm-hmm.
Also, given the time period, so Revenge era,
Yes.
possibly a little Carnival of Souls vibe in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
That could be fun.
true to the time period during which this song was allegedly conceived and recorded, but never released.
Yeah, and then Chris and I got together not long after we started doing the podcast, and worked on a demo, and it was kind of on the shelf for all these years since then.
Yeah, think about it.
It was-
This month is the 5-year month
Yeah.
since we started
Mhm.
this. Nick just said that before we even recorded episode 1, we talked about doing this. So, that's how long it took us to get off our butts and put it together. Again, something we talk about all the time is that we had no idea that this podcast would be listened to by anyone. The thought of making it through the entire KISS catalog was a bit of a pipe dream at that point. We figured, nothing's going to happen with this thing. We'll just quit after 20 episodes probably. So that contributes to the delay in getting this thing together. But, we just kept it on the shelf, and we finally got around to putting it together.
Yeah, and it was the demo was completed. It was September of 2013.
Wow.
So, and we had that demo, and then we all just kind of we didn't forget about it, but we really didn't work on it until just a few months ago. So,
But we finally did.
yeah, and it is done.
We're always trying to do something special and spectacular.
So, and a few people have heard it before this.
As we've circulated it amongst some
just a
trusted confidants who, by the way, they too have not leaked it as far as I'm concerned. Not that anybody would know about it, because nobody would care. But
we have all 4 performers in the room here on this track.
Actually, I heard it's on Top 40 radio.
It's
or
Wow.
Dick
whatever
Biondi is
we
gonna
got
be
going
talking
on
about
these
this.
days. Actually, it was the last song they played on the loop.
It's going to be on every Jack station after this.
Wow.
Actually, somebody performed it on The Voice earlier tonight. I was like, oh, that sounds familiar. Wow, that's pretty
Should
good.
have had that guy.
Yeah. I pick him. I want him on my team.
So yeah, that's we've got all 4 people on this track. So yeah, hopefully.
So let's go into what everybody did on the track.
Okay.
Yeah.
So producer Nick,
Chris on all guitars.
That is
You like that, huh?
Except for the bass guitar, which is Andy.
Who gives a shit?
I did the drums and the lead vocal, and then everybody in this room is on the backing vocal, and that's about it.
Well, here it comes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow!
Well, we haven't even heard it yet. That's we're celebrating a bit early.
That's the level of anticipation that's brewing up here and everywhere else in the world.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's a good background, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I guess we'll get into, as we go through the song, we'll get into some of the ways we recorded it, what we used to record it, things like that. But we wanted to get Tom involved because he's a singer and needed some help with the some of the vocal elements, and I think it came out pretty good. I can confidently say that the demo does not rock harder than the final
that is
version.
We're waiting for that.
Which is an anomaly in the Kiss world, but
which is absolutely true in this case. Yeah.
But the listeners can be the judge. But previously we did some solo episodes about music that we did with our own bands. This is our first ever collaboration, and I think it came out pretty good, but we'll let the listeners decide.
So
in true Pot of Thunder tradition, Nick is the first one to
Was
stop
it within 10 seconds?
It was 8 seconds.
Oh, yeah,
yes, he
wow.
did it.
I was counting in my head.
If you're playing Nick Bingo at home.
Nice. This is okay, and going into it, I guess a little deeper, even though we just started. The guitars, which was the framework of everything, the first element that was there was written by Chris. He had it pretty much all. Well, he had it all realized on the demo. It was slightly arranged, a couple of little extra parts put in, but. This was Chris.
Nick added some extra parts that I had to relearn in the song that I wrote. But actually, a little backstory on the music. Basically the whole song, the riff, everything is a music from a Mean Red song. Which, if you're familiar with the podcast or you heard any of the solo episodes, that was my band in the 90s, and this is a song that we put together shortly before we disbanded, and this is pretty much it intact. It got rearranged a little bit, as we talked about, but the name of this Mean Red song was The Service, and I can't remember all the lyrics, but I remember the chorus went something like, "They're giving you the service, baby, and you're taking it all."
Wow.
I didn't write the lyrics. Can't really remember what the subject matter of the whole song was, but I do remember the chorus and the title. But this is the riff and the other music from that song. And it immediately popped into my head to resurface it just because I had always remembered it. And then also, as we talked about, we wanted to do something that was period correct from the Revenge era, maybe slopping over into the Carnival of Souls time period. And this was definitely written and originally put together during that time, so it seemed like the right thing to do and appropriate. And I always thought it was a cool riff, so I was good to see it get the light of day again.
And it does kind of straddle the stylistically. It does kind of straddle those two albums, those two Kiss albums. I think it's
definitely fits the times. It fits perfectly.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit of that as we go along, but that's where the music came from, was pretty much intact from another song that got repurposed for this project. And as we've talked about, it happens a lot. Van Halen used to do that, or they've been doing it. They've been re-recording songs they had before they even got signed throughout their career. And we've talked about that. It's like, if you got a good song in the can, so to speak, and never saw the light of day, why not resurrect it and see what you can do with it?
It's yours to do whatever you want with it.
So that's kind of what we did here, and overall, I think it came out pretty good. Good, tough sounding riff.
I know you like what you see. Baby sees the moment and sees me.
I guess we should get into some lyrics here.
Yeah, I think so.
It's time.
Lyrically, the title was already there, so the subject matter was kind of...
You kind of knew where it was going.
Yeah, it was, but based on the title.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just called Do You Wanna, and you could kind
Sure.
of go in any direction. It's like, okay, this is going to be a song about a physical interaction, right?
You would think, yes.
So it's, I know you like what you see. Baby sees the moment and sees me.
Nice wordplay with C and C's.
Well,
never really occurred
you.
to me until you just read it back, and I've listened to it many times.
It's
I'm learning. We're
yeah,
just talking it out, Tom. That's what happens. You talk it out and you discover things.
It's good that Tom's here.
Yeah.
My goodness.
My goodness.
Yeah, when
Talk it out, boys.
Yeah. It's always good to have him around when we're discussing seizing another human being.
Yeah.
But no, I like the, as far as the lyrics go, I know you like what you see, so it's like Mr. Jungle maleness, machismo, but then turning around and basically being the submissive individual in the encounter, basically ordering the woman to jump his bones, so to speak. So it's a lot of dynamics going on.
And with the title, it's do you want to touch me? Right. So yeah, it is all about putting it in the other person's court.
Yeah, and it's delivered as a question, as the song title and also in the chorus, but it's more of a statement, really. It's definitely very coercive. So, as if the deliverer of these lyrics already knows the answer.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good thing. I think you need to state a question these days. So, good job, Nick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, don't be too demanding.
Questions always draw people in. Very intriguing.
You want me down on my knees, but I bet you give in first.
Actually, back it up a little to play it through the down on my knees bit, which is pretty kind of a requisite thing to have.
Which is not a surprise.
Kiss-inspired song.
Just realized that was the lyric there. So.
You didn't know that?
Knees?
No, I did, but for whatever reason, it didn't click that it's in every Kiss song, and there it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, it was consciously.
Yeah.
I had to make sure it was mentioned. Yeah.
You want me down on my knees.
Okay, so basically it's the inclusion of down on my knees or down on your knees.
Yeah.
Some sort of someone falling to their knees. It's a requisite inclusion in a Kiss song.
Yep.
If you're going to take a stab at a Kiss song, you're not really rolling the dice by including that subject matter. Chances are it would have been in there anyway.
Yeah.
But I wanted to stop at that pause because when you heard a hint of it there, again, I'll turn it over to producer Nick, but it was his idea to include a gang vocal at this stage.
This is one of the parts that was somewhat just not really rearranged, but it was kind of on the demo. I cut part of Chris's guitar and repeated it for a little bit, and then added a lyric over it. And this is what.
Which is what I had to relearn that part because it was, like you said, rearranged. But overall, it came out good. It was a little off-putting at first, but I just listened to it repeatedly and got the arrangement.
Well, and there's a time signature change because Chris's riff is in
Get out of here.
7/8 time.
I couldn't even tell you what that was.
Which became apparent to me when working on the drums.
Yeah,
because obviously, that's
you're the timekeeper.
Yeah, you got to have it locked in on what exactly the riff is doing. So yeah, it's in 7/8. We're gonna, and then we
no clue. I mean, that's another thing. I could come out here. We could have conferred on this before the episode, and I could have been like, "Yeah, man, I wrote that in 7/8 time because I'm tired of the 4/4 and I want to do something exotic." No clue about time signatures or anything. That's just how it came out.
Chris, we've got 4 letters for that, right? JBBS.
Yeah. Well,
wait, why?
Yeah, so, see,
how do we get blamed?
Just like all other JBBS, it's not true at all.
Well, it's popular in songs that you write.
Oh, different time signatures?
Different time signatures.
This was not my idea in this one.
No?
Yeah, he didn't write any of the
Chris did,
music.
yeah.
He rearranged a couple parts and then he
this-
put a drum part
No,
on
I
it,
didn't. No, I didn't take a 4/4 riff and cut out a beat or anything. This was Chris's riff. I mean, the whole song musically is Chris's. It's just some of it was kind of cut and pasted and repeated in different places.
To go with your lyrical ideas, right?
To make it flow with the lyrics.
But yeah, so again, chances are if you're listening to somebody piping off about how they wrote in some exotic time signature, there's a good chance they had no idea that's what they were doing. It just came out that way.
But I bet you give in first. I see you tugging at your skirt. Tell me.
Okay, now those gang vocals are the 3 gentlemen in the room with me: Andy, Chris, and Tom.
I hear a very dominant Chris in there.
There's certain moments where it could be either of the 3 of you that I hear more of.
Okay.
And those were inspired by Tough Love.
Tough Love, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, okay. He never told me about
that's
that.
What
that actually never occurred to me until just
I
now.
got that one.
That's the sound I was hoping to get there.
See,
I think we came somewhat close.
But you
to
didn't get knees.
No, not at all. I'm not a lyric guy.
No. Oh.
That's no problem.
But see, that was going to be my question to Nick is, having heard this several times as we were mixing it and chiming in about making adjustments after we recorded it. I didn't really get why the gang vocal was being included in there, but now I do. It makes sense now.
Yep, just going for, some of it had to be elements from stuff that was standout kind of, I wouldn't say gimmicks, but kind of standout sort of things used on Revenge.
Yeah, I think where we could, we decided to tip the cap to some of the stuff that was going on, and we did make a concerted effort to do something that sounded like it could have been on that album or from that era, and I think we got pretty close. But again, the listeners can decide.
Oh, and here's our chorus.
But how about the lyrics, though?
Oh,
it's like,
that's right.
I'll bet you give in first. I see you tugging at your skirt.
Why is she tugging at her skirt?
Okay,
What's
so
going on there?
it's the whole thing with "Do you want to touch me now?" It's I'm here being irresistible.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're having a staring contest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who's gonna
break?
Yeah. Who's gonna be able to, or who can resist longer?
Well, generally, the person who's tugging at their skirt has broken.
Yeah.
They're going to lose.
And that's what's happening here. Yeah.
Well, is it really losing?
Not
after
really.
What's
No.
going to happen next?
Yeah, bad choice of words.
So is tugging in this case removing? Or is it like
Yeah,
it's more like
squirming around,
a nervous,
right?
playful kind of a thing. Yeah.
But there's something going on under that skirt that the fabric needs to be moved away from it, possibly. There's a lot going on.
Temperatures
but,
rising.
Yeah.
Sure.
Great lyrics, though.
This is hot.
A voyage into the dark corners of Nick's psyche here.
Well,
he really rose to the occasion
really
on
did.
this.
And to be fair, it's kind of in character of like a Paul Stanley. I mean, I'm not trying to do a Paul Stanley impression because I don't think that would work very well for me.
No.
And it would be silly.
Yeah.
Right.
And but lyrically, yeah, I was thinking, okay, like the sexy Paul Stanley sort of point of view. I was trying to see through that point of view. And I am not a sexy person, so that was not easy.
You sell yourself short. You definitely invoked something on these lyrics, and also, we're writing a song in the vein of other material on an album that contained the lyric "local titty bar." So
yeah, that's true.
Pretty much anything goes here.
Yeah.
It's more than you channeling, Paul. There's a lot of you.
Okay. Well, Tom,
Studley man.
Tom would know. He's known me for 30 plus years, so.
Do you wanna touch me? Yeah. Now, right now. You gotta pull the trigger if you wanted to shoot.
Okay.
Can we go back to the beginning of that? There's a lot happening that I
Sure,
want
of
to talk
course.
about. Let's give everybody that little chorus. The first. I guess I'll just say it. Slightly abbreviated chorus. The first one here.
All right, I'm taking a stab in the dark here.
Tell me, do you wanna touch me? Yeah. Now, right now. You gotta.
Now that right there is almost entirely Chris.
Yes.
The now. And when we recorded that, I didn't know I mean, I told Tom, because Andy did his separately. He wasn't there at that session.
Mm-hmm. I
When
mailed it in.
When I told Tom and Chris what I wanted, I kind of referenced Tough Love, or that kind of thing. I tried to show him with my voice how it would sound, and I wasn't sure how they were going to approach it, but I think they were incredible.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds awesome, and I smile and like chuckle every time. And if I isolated, I think it was Tom's track. If I isolate that, when Tom goes now, you can hear me laughing in the background because I'm just like, oh, that's like perfect. Like I can't. these guys went there to such a degree that it was like just, like if somebody does something so awesome, you like laugh with delight. That's what I was doing when Chris and Tom were doing that backing vocal.
Laughing with delight.
And Andy too, but I wasn't there when he actually recorded
So
it.
you mean just in the room, in their presence while it was actually being recorded?
Yeah, and that was like.
Did you guys do it on the same mic?
No,
one at a time?
separate
Yeah,
tracks.
separate tracks.
Okay, I didn't know if you guys were.
I think
It wasn't a true gang vocal that you see in the videos where they're all surrounding a
We did
a big
get
mic
inspiration
and-
though from was it the Motley Crue video that you had going there?
The Josh Todd.
Josh
Yeah,
Todd
the concept of gang vocal we all got in the mood by. We pulled up Saints of Los Angeles where they had all the L.A. luminaries on stage with them, like Josh Todd, the guy from Papa Roach, and some other dude was in there, but they're just all
Bringing
jumping
LA to
around,
Munster.
screaming into microphones, and getting in that gang vocal mindset.
Yeah, and it was. I think Chris went first, so he laid down how it ended up turning out. So Chris gets a lot of credit for the actual sound of it. What ended up happening here.
Well, and then there's also the just getting back to the lyrics and the vocal performance. So you have kind of a, the title of the song kind of sung, right?
Yeah.
And then you have that growling gang vocal, and then the insistent right now afterwards. So basically this individual is no longer asking, he's telling the person on the other end of the conversation to get down to business right now.
And if I'm not mistaken, Chris has Chris has mimicked that right now a few times on past episodes, just kind of out of nowhere.
Well, that was on the scratch vocal that you
Yeah.
originally had, and that just stuck in my head ever since. It's one of those things that it was so cool. I just had to laugh at it, and just the insistent yelling of right now after "Do you want to touch me?" it's a brilliant juxtaposition there.
We actually have audio from Nick as the producer directing the two of you on how to sing his lyrics.
Okay.
Sing this shit!
There we go.
Pretty much. That's all I had to say, When you're there with two pros,
Yeah.
you don't have to tell them much.
That word came out of Nick's mouth.
Pull the trigger if you wanted to shoot. Come on, honey, pick the lowest hanging fruit.
Okay.
I knew this was going to tip off something here.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you got to pull the trigger if you wanted to shoot. I mean, that's just great.
That really is
hilarious.
good. That could be the standout line in the song, in my opinion.
Really?
I don't know. There's
Okay.
just, because, pull the trigger, but then,
If you wanted to
you
shoot.
you made it very sexual very quickly from just being, let's make this happen to.
We all know that Nick's a gun enthusiast.
It's a love. Yeah. Nick's a
He's
right-wing
just
gun nut.
yeah.
But there's a love gun
Well, if you
reference
don't
if you want to find one there.
If you're in a situation and you don't have the ace of spades in your hand. Anyway, that's from a different conversation.
Yeah.
Never
Oh,
mind.
Plus,
Another friend of ours gave us a speech on that.
Plus, you have that rhyming with the lowest hanging fruit in the next
Yeah,
line.
come
which
on,
of
honey,
course is
pick the lowest hanging fruit.
well, and also, if I may, the cadence of that lyric delivered, it's like, "Come on, honey, pick the lowest hanging fruit." The way you say "lowest" there is excellent. Play it again. Listen to it. Just listen to how he says "lowest." Brilliant vocal.
Honey, pick the lowest hanging fruit.
Then he rides that note up.
That's a Paul Stanley kind of thing I was going for. Saying again that I wasn't trying to do an impression, but the word fruit, how it goes longer and it kind of goes up and down. Yeah, the word fruit I tried to make sound tough.
It's hilarious. It's perfect, but it's hilarious because it's like, oh, shoot. That's a cool word for a sexy tough guy song. What can I rhyme it with? How about fruit?
Well, I mean...
But then you made it work.
And
But
saying
if you
that-
just looked at the word, you wouldn't think fruit's going to work.
And it's got that cheesy, punniness of... Like an 80s Kiss song, like, "Hey, baby, pick my low-hanging fruit."
Right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
log in
it's
the
a-
fireplace.
Yeah. That harkens back to, Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade era sort of lyrical turns of phrase.
Did you put that in there because we've talked about it?
No.
That was just in
No,
your...
that was a coincidence that it was something that enraged Chris in the past, right? That phrase.
that might have been me. I think
Were
that...
you? Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
remember
low-hanging fruit was
I remember
a
there
thing.
being a thing that...
Well, that was a thing that one of Andy's boss
Yeah.
back at Playboy used to say all the time.
Yeah. I didn't know how Chris felt about it. But
Oh, okay. I thought it was...
I
you
love
did-
it now.
Yeah.
Certainly in this context,
right
is
context.
masterfully executed.
Yeah,
Just talk it out.
exactly. Just talk it out.
Ah,
And you
Tom.
find little
We need
nuggets of gold.
Send Tom on a world tour to have people talk it out.
Tom is like our Tony Robbins.
I'm talking on a grander scale.
Oh, only if I could bring
Heads
Pitbull
of,
with
heads
me.
of heads of nations.
What do we do? Talk about real estate
What's
or something?
Chris for? You bring him with you. There you go.
There we go.
You guys got a tour on your hands.
So yeah, now listen to Nick hold that note and then bring it up and then burst out another lusty outburst of vocal here.
Wow, yeah!
And those crunchy palm mutes in there. Dun, 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 dun.
You want to talk about gear? People are probably
we could.
interested. What guitar or amp, what have you? Pedals, if any. What did you use?
All right, so the guitar was a Huber Krautster with a Household Hot pickup in it. how
I don't
far
know
and
any
away.
of those words.
It doesn't matter.
No.
The guitar nerds out there will
I know.
respond to it.
That's what makes it even better.
They're all
And-
tugging at their skirts
Yes,
right now.
they are.
Yeah,
They
So
should be. Hands down, the best pickup I've ever used for hard rock tones. Unbelievable pickup. The German guy makes them. I think you can get them just separately, but it's worth looking into if you play hard rock music. Incredible sound.
Is this the guitar you had made a year or two ago?
No, it's
no.
not.
Okay.
The amp was a Soldano Avenger, known for the high gain tones. Again, great amp. Into a Fender Tone Master 412 cabinet with Eminence GB12 speakers. Great sounding speaker. Not too harsh on the top end. Full spectrum. Warm sounding. Great. And no effects really on the rhythm part. Just straight in. Not as much preamp gain as you might have guessed. I had it up about 3. So about 30% up. Beyond that is a ridiculous amount of gain. So, but overall, I'm happy with it. When we decided to do this, I insisted that we record the guitar the old-fashioned way by putting a mic in front of a speaker cabinet and doing it that way, and I think it came out great.
An SM57, just in case anybody wants the complete rundown here.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say that those chunky palm mutes that you refer to were not made more so by the bass track.
The bass track is Andy's work entirely. It was not... I don't think you even had any kind of meeting with Chris about this, right? About what he played. You just kind of heard it, and then you came up with something based on what you heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pretty much we heard it and was like, okay, print it. It's good.
Yeah.
And the other production note on that is we recorded the bass really clean, and then we dirtied it up in post-production to get kind of that Gene distorted bass tone, and that really just jacks up the aggressiveness and the chunkiness of it. Because original mixes had the clean bass, which sounded pretty good, but then as we were kicking around our suggestions, we were like, well, we should make it sound a little more Gene, so let's dirty it up, and we did, and it just totally took it to another level, I think.
Yeah. And on the... I won't get into it too much yet, but on the next chorus, we'll talk about the bass a little bit more.
You're teasing me, shame on you.
Shame on you. That's another standout.
See, now this is another point of discussion that we've had behind the scenes as we were putting this thing together. But this line, "You're teasing me, shame on you."
Role reversal?
And we actually started talking about this before, at the early part of this episode. But levels of horniness are a topic here, and we've identified this line as an expression of playful horniness, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you're teasing me, shame on you.
And we'll get to the other type that we've been discussing.
Yeah, you could get away with "you're teasing me, shame on you." That could be innocently horny. That could be like...
That could almost be in a workplace.
Almost. Yeah, depending.
I don't know.
Almost.
Maybe not these days, but...
Well, if it's not about something sexual, you could say it to a woman playfully.
Right.
I would say you could say it to a woman in the workplace if you're somewhat interested in each other.
Right. You just
Not
don't
like-
blurt it
yeah,
out
yeah,
to
yeah.
anybody walking down the hall.
Right.
really.
Like, if you see some kind of potential relationship. But it's still appropriate. It's not, it's not disgusting like some other...
That's the problem. Guys are being disgusting about it.
Right.
Yeah. Guys are never satisfied.
What did that
with
guy do? It showed pictures of that newsman showed his penis to the other woman, the Detroit newsman.
Yeah,
What was he guilty of?
He's guilty of a lot. Well, I don't
showing
know
her
if he's guilty
videos of somebody shooting grapes out of her vagina.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's
he
over
was-
the line. That's beyond shame on you. I
He
think.
was accused of it. I don't know if he was guilty of it necessarily.
Well, yeah,
So-
we never followed up.
I don't
want
wanna-
to.
yeah.
So this woman teased him And his reaction was, "I'm going to show you a video of a woman shooting
his wife.
grapes of my wife shooting grapes out of her vagina." When he should have just said, "Shame on you."
Yeah, you bet your bippy.
Yeah, exactly.
See, that's what's known as a disproportionate response.
Yeah, it really is.
Not equal give and take.
That's
there.
the giving an inch, taking a mile.
That's giving our sex a bad rap right there.
That's
guys
true.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Not gentlemen.
That's
like
why
the
we
four
need to
of
get
us.
Tom out there in the public to give it a better name. Look, guys can be like this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not so bad.
Yeah, you're better than this. Jeez.
This is your Tony Robbins speech.
Exactly. Raise your game. Don't sink to the blue material so quickly. You got to work your way up to it.
Yeah.
Now, this next lyric set, I'm interested. There's something different that I hear here that I'm interested to see if you guys hear it as well. So, back
maybe
it
go
up a
back
couple
little bit.
seconds.
Sure.
See, the handicap we have during this episode is that nobody really that's listening to this has heard the song before.
Yeah,
so we might have to
usually.
repeat a few things to get people familiar somewhat.
Okay, so the lyric is sugar times a wasting.
And I try.
And I'm coming through,
and
right?
I'm coming through. Yeah, and
Through what?
Is that the question?
I don't know.
I'm waiting.
Through your own pants.
Yeah.
Through your zipper. Just blasting it apart. But anyway, that
Or
so
does it
that
mean I'm coming over? I'm going to come to your neighborhood. I'm coming through. I don't know.
It could be circling the block,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah, that's not creepy.
No,
I'm coming through town. Let's meet up.
Yeah.
As soon as you say it's okay, I'm there in like 30 seconds.
Right, yeah.
Oh, I just happened.
Ding dong.
Just like Tom when we were little, and I had Mario. I had just
Oh,
got
jeez.
Super Mario
All right.
3. All of a sudden, Tom's over.
How did this happen?
From about a mile away, when we're about
Yeah, you know what?
8
Well, I was
years
just
old.
skateboarding through the neighborhood. Just
Skateboarding
happened to swing by.
Skateboarding a mile away.
Yeah.
Just happened to be in the
swing on by.
neighborhood.
You wanted to come play Mario 3?
Yes, of course. Of course.
That's funny.
He didn't invite me over.
What do you say? Hey, I got Mario 3.
No,
See
he was
you later.
busy. He didn't answer the phone.
I got Mario 3. I won't be around for a while.
You just showed up, huh?
Yep.
So is that the question?
No.
Okay.
No, so the lyric is sugar times a waste and I'm coming through, right?
Ooh.
I hear it as I don't hear different words. I just hear different phrasing. I hear sugar time is a waste and I'm coming through.
I like that.
So sugar time being a euphemism for the sex encounter.
I like that.
The nighttime is ticking away.
Yeah.
Are you calling her sugar, comma, time is wasted?
Originally, that's
That-
how he meant it,
That
but I
is-
hear
that
it
is-
as sugar time is a wasting.
Yeah,
so.
I got to go at X time.
Yeah.
So sugar time wasting.
That's Tom. Tom is correct. That's what I'm trying to deliver. But
I always heard it as Sugar Tom. I don't know.
Sugar
That's just
Tom
me,
is
I guess.
wasting away here.
Pour some sugar on Tom, of course.
But Chris, I like. I'm glad that a saying like that came out of it.
Yeah.
Sugar time. It's sugar time. Why not?
That's nice.
That's
You
great.
know it's genius when you can get multiple perspectives in one line.
Just talk it out.
Already, talk it
Talk
out.
it out.
Talk it out.
Let's see you try to take me down. When my tree falls in your forest, you'll make a sound.
Nick's all right, two of the four of us
That's
are
good.
covering our faces. So, recap.
Let's start with, I love that declaration. Let's see you try to take me down.
Yeah, challenge has been laid out.
and that's more, a nod to a Kiss, the stuff that Kiss.
Yeah,
Is there a
absolutely.
specific one that comes to
about
mind
being
or no?
taken down.
Okay, take me down below or
Yeah,
something.
well,
or
that's
take me to my knees or what,
Yeah,
bring it,
yeah.
Okay.
Just that kind of attitude.
Yeah, there are several Kiss songs that
Well-
speak of being ruined by some
Yeah.
woman and loving it.
And it's it's a Paul Stanley-ish sentiment, which is
Yeah.
ultimately what I was going for. It's let's see you try to do this.
Laying out a challenge is pretty brilliant.
Yeah,
though.
laying out a challenge.
It's like it's some kind of psychology thing where I'll try it. I think I could do this.
But then the lyric that follows has got the signature Nick spin on things. You wanna recite that out?
I think maybe you could recite it. That would be more interesting for me to hear someone else say it.
See what
My tree.
Let's see you try to take me down
Yeah.
when my
when
when my
if.
tree falls in your forest, you'll make a sound.
Damn
Which-
right.
which
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what Gimme More could be referenced as just
Exactly.
having like a silly.
It's like a
a
lot
lot of Gene songs.
on the tree tip. That's very log in your fireplace esque.
Yep.
And again on Revenge, they dipped back into the 80s with some of the sentiments in the lyrics, so it's appropriate.
Talking about a woman's forest.
Yeah, exactly.
Very-
There you go.
See?
Filthy stuff.
That
Brilliantly executed.
again, that didn't occur to me until just now. The forest part is the part that I got every other part of it. Tree falling and she'll make a sound. I get the pun twisting it around. Forest didn't
Yeah.
register until
I
just
gotta
now.
admit that didn't really
Wow.
register with me either.
It just multi-layered.
I was focusing on that whole, if the tree falls in the forest,
Yeah.
nobody hears it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was reaching too far intellectually
Me too.
with that one.
Me too.
Well, that's
Which
yeah.
is never a good idea.
With
in
this
any
song,
capacity.
it's not gonna
No.
shed any light
That's
on
a
anything.
terrible idea to
Yeah.
analyze this song. But and then you'll make a sound. I mean,
It's like,
what
yeah.
could that mean? It could mean a million different things.
Yeah.
So use your
We'll go with the
imagination.
obvious, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Absolutely.
go with whatever works for you.
Whatever your
basically.
obvious is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Tom, what would it be?
Do the sound.
Tom,
for
do
us.
the
I'm
sound.
thinking something along the lines of
There you go.
Okay.
the Brian Sherwood sound drop is probably the sound that Nick was envisioning. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, great stuff. The vocal delivery is excellent. So,
Do you have a lyric that you're, I don't want to say most proud of because you're probably slightly, I mean, you covered your face, so you're slightly bashful about it. I don't, you know what I mean, though, but cleverness and innuendo, I don't know, is there one that you're especially proud of?
I don't know.
have we gotten to it yet?
Maybe
I,
not.
I
There's
honestly
more
don't.
lyrics.
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Can we revisit that question?
We
Yes.
could, I guess
Yeah.
at the end maybe
We can all share our favorites.
That tree in the forest line though. That's one where it was on the demo originally, and
Yeah.
that was the one line I considered. Should I make it less silly and change that line?
No.
And then I just kind of thought, no.
Remember.
I'm leaving that because I can argue it when the time comes that it's supposed to be, it's more whatever, quote unquote, like a Kiss song, and you can justify a line like that.
Hop into my car, hit the local titty bar.
And going back into the decade preceding it, you can absolutely justify the use of a lyric like that. So yeah,
exactly.
it was left in.
First of all, you don't have to justify anything, and second of all, it's great. That you'll make a sound so open to interpretation, which is all fine art fits that description.
Wanna touch me, yeah. I can take it, so don't hold back. You wanna touch me, yeah. 10, 15 by off the train.
So I can take it, so don't hold back. That was one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Chris wrote, "Make the 10-15 fly off the track."
Did I really write that?
That was yours.
I didn't know that.
I don't even remember contributing that.
That was Chris's, and it's something that we talk about all the time. This is supposed to be a Paul Stanley-esque song. He likes to throw out specific times.
Yes.
So we're talking about the 10-15 coming in.
Right. There's
So a roaring freight train just derailing
Yeah.
due to just unchecked lust at this point.
Which could, if you want to think of how that would go physically. I guess there's a couple different interpretations.
It's not as sexy when you think about it too much.
No, we're getting we're getting into.
She'll definitely make a sound.
Well, you'll make a sound too, probably.
Well, this is the other level of horniness that we were talking about.
Yeah.
We had the playful horniness, and then what I described as the head of steam horniness.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, there's no playing around now. Let's get down to business. I'm coming through.
You wanna touch me, yeah. Take control of your fantasies.
Which that line, of course.
Is that a dangerous
it's
reference?
Of course, it's a reference to Tell Me About Your Fantasies.
Tell me about your fantasies, yeah.
And I wanted to point out the bass playing on this.
Oh, yeah,
on
yes,
the chorus,
yes.
because the bass playing is great throughout. However, during the chorus, Andy was doing some kind of like almost ascending chord kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Invoking Gene, right?
Yeah,
Was that your mindset? on
Yeah.
it?
And that had a big influence on how the chorus turned out. Chris and Tom are doing some sort of supporting, like during the Do You Want to Touch Me Now line, they're doing some supporting stuff, and they did some sort of spontaneously done like harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
They're not terribly prominent in the mix.
They're mixed in there perfectly.
They're mixed in underneath, supporting it, and then Tom and Chris are doing, which I hear Tom's voice actually doing the line with me, the regular melody.
Yeah.
He's doing like a little more like a raspy kind of thing, which I think is like that helped me to when I heard it to say, okay, that part's done. Like I don't need to add anything else to it. When they did their harmonies, it's in there, but I didn't want it to be too prominent, and I didn't want to try to add any other sort of big harmonies to it because I think it would have maybe stepped on what Andy was playing, because Andy's basically doing a lot of kind of harmonizing
and
bass-wise.
The reason I did is because what Chris was playing had some space there.
Yeah,
so I thought, I'm not going to go crazy and play a million notes, but I have some real estate to play with here.
And that's a luxury and a challenge, because during the chorus, Chris is just hitting two chords, switching back and forth. So there's a lot of space, and at first it's like, oh, I can do anything here, but then that ends up being, wow, I guess I can do anything here.
Yeah,
you know, and it opened it up to this sort of get all you can take sort of a chorus, which is not. I don't know that it was the intention to kind of have something like that where you've got half of each line is being sung with the title of the song, and then kind of like, you know, some sort of different line being thrown in there for the second half.
Yeah.
There are also no more nows in the song after the first chorus, so that's another thing.
Well, there's one coming up. The word now does come up again.
Okay.
So the title does get...
But it's not in there for every chorus.
No.
Little quirky arrangement thing that Kiss also did in some of their songs throughout the catalog.
So would you be able to back it up just a little bit?
How many seconds?
I don't know, about 10 seconds or so, just so we can kind of get the vibe of the chorus with the bass playing. That's what I wanted to stress here.
Ooh, okay.
And then we're going to go into another part of the song right after the chorus.
If you want the vibe of the bass playing, no shirt, tons of sweat, constant gyrations, that's what it was. Picture that
doing your best Flea imitation, then.
Pretty much,
or Marco Mendoza.
Yeah, all those types of guys.
If you were doing Mendoza, shirtless does work, but also starting out wearing a women's shirt is his MO, and he does it very well.
And some of the grooves here, I could see Mendoza like kind of doing a circular gyration on stage,
and the women
possibly with a cowboy hat on.
Oh, of course.
The women wouldn't be looking through the window; they'd be crashing through the window, coming in.
They'd be using
coming
one
through.
One as a battering ram, sacrificing one.
Another example of head of steam horniness.
Take control of your fantasies. Wanna touch me, yeah. I know you wanna touch me now. Do it like this.
Okay.
That was not in the demo.
That part made me laugh out loud the first time I heard it.
Yeah, that was good. And again, it's it's not a direct command to the guitarist to announce the guitar solo, but it does fit that description of some sort of vocal outburst leading into the guitar
Well,
solo.
it kind of works both ways, because you could be saying, play
Do
the
it like this.
play the guitar like this,
Yeah.
or the guitar is a representation of how I want you to do it.
And
Yeah,
that's
there
not
you
what,
go.
Wild
that's not
like
what you were
this.
getting
Well,
at.
yeah. It may have been. I don't know.
No, well, it was
flowed perfectly.
It was changed. Originally, it was just "I know you want to touch me now," or "I know you want to touch me," and then a big "now," holding a note saying
This
the word
is
now.
So what inspired
Yes.
you to come up with what
I
made the final cut?
Don't know. I was listening to it in the car, just kind of during the period where it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to start like recording the vocal to this, pretty soon. What am I gonna do? Am I just gonna keep it the way it is or not? And I have no idea. It just kind of like came to me, and I kind of like chuckled to myself in the car. I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna try that. Like when I get home, I'm gonna try to record that part. And I kind of figured out the timing of how it would go leading into the guitar solo. So I don't know. It just kind of happened, and it
Wow.
was kind of a silly line, and I figured I had to put the in there.
It's perfect.
So
I'm gonna admit right now that's my favorite. That's my favorite part
Yeah.
that you've done.
is it the
It
that did it for you?
is, yeah.
I like that it's kind
It's
of
a whole
rushed.
thing. Yeah, it's
There's urgency
great.
in the delivery.
yeah. But it doesn't. It doesn't sound clumsy or
No.
poorly executed. It's all
Yeah, it
delivered
didn't sound
exactly
forced.
as it should be.
It sounded natural. It fit. It really
Yeah.
fit.
Yeah, well done. So, and then we venture into a guitar solo
Yeah.
here. So,
So maybe can we back it up a few seconds so we can get the full effect of it changing? Little key change here, and you're gonna hear your guitar sensei, Chris L.
well, this is one of those key changes that you alluded to on your MySpace page back in the day. That log list of things that everything on the list, I'm like, I can relate to that. I know what he's talking about. And this is the one. What was it for the solo? You just take everything a whole step up.
I
That's
think
basically what
yeah,
it
it's a
is.
whole step. I think yeah.
That's pretty much why I created it this way.
Wow.
Wow.
To conform to that rule.
I had no idea that was the inspiration for.
Yeah, I don't
changing
think
it
this
up.
was how the original song in the Mean Reds days went. I can't even remember if there was a solo section, but yeah, the whole step up rule was invoked in full tilt here.
I know you wanna touch me now. Do it like this.
There it is.
The guy can play, no question.
sure can.
Let's talk about when
double tracking?
when we recorded it. Yeah, Chris had the solo figured out, laid it down. We did a couple of takes. When it was played back to him, I think there was a part that you liked better on one take than on another, and I kind of played them at the same time, like panned a little bit left and right, so you can hear them, and that seemed to get a good response from Chris. So we kind of talked about maybe doing that in the final mix.
Yeah, I've never done that before, kind of double tracking it, and it wasn't. It was exact in some parts, but not in other parts, so it kind of gave it that Tony Iommi feel. The main reason why I asked Nick to attempt that is because I was hoping it would cover up some of the clams that are in that fast section in the second half.
Which there really weren't.
There's one in there that I can hear, but probably nobody else can. But
Isn't that
that's
funny
just-
how that happens when you record something?
But that last like measure or two, where it's kind of a flurry of notes going into the doo doo doo.
Yeah.
That part was like done perfectly first take, and that's That seems like a pretty difficult little.
Well, I had
section to
worked
do,
on it
yeah.
for about a week or so, figuring out what I wanted to do. But
Yeah.
I've never attempted a double track like that, and I think it came out pretty cool. If I may, I'm probably overstepping my bounds here, but there are portions of that solo where it reminds me of Randy Rhoads and the tones.
The
thing.
double
And
tracking will do that.
He was definitely known for that. It adds kind of a little sinister feel to it. And then, to remain faithful to Bruce Kulick's approach during that time period, there's wah pedal throughout, but it's not super exaggerated. Tried to keep it right in that sweet spot, and I think it came out pretty good. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it.
And a friend of ours who is on another KISS podcast, a very well-respected gentleman, Mr. Mills. He heard this before, and he seemed very impressed with the Bruce Kulick sort of vibe that you were able to capture with the guitar solo, and I agree.
Yeah, and like I said when I did at the Q&A at the last KISS Expo, Bruce is in fact my second favorite wah pedal user of all time. First being Brian Robertson of Thin Lizzy, but yeah, I just like the way when he uses the wah, it's always right there in that sweet spot. It's never too trebly or too bass heavy, and
he doesn't really flex it up and down constantly or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's the kind of wah playing I like to hear. It's not haphazard. It's goes along with the notes and the phrasing. That's what I aspire to. So the wah pedal I used was a Mesa. It was a Morley Maverick, which is their smaller sized switchless wah. So when you step on, it turns on. You step off, it turns off.
Oh.
I like that feature. And then I used a TC Electronic Spark Boost to get a little more jack for the solo. So overall, I think it came out pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with it.
Now you want me again.
Actually, one thing I want to, if you could back it up just to the end of the solo, listen to as the solo ends, listen to the insistent sound of the bass and rhythm guitar as it comes out of us. Just a grinding, again, a sonically representation of that plowing forward vibe.
And I did want to try to, mention a couple things real quick here, but Andy, I liked the move that he pulled at the end of the solo. He let that certain note ring, and then he went higher, boom, which I thought was. And then I was almost thinking, is he going to go even higher? No, okay, he kept it tasteful and just did the one little like.
No, I didn't. I did two.
Did you do two?
Yeah, I did. I didn't keep it tasteful.
Oh well,
boom.
Well, that's what I mean. But you didn't go higher after that.
Oh, I don't think I could have.
Which when I heard it, I thought, is he going to go higher after that? No.
But I think that's what adds to the punch of when we go back into the rhythm track, because he's way up on the neck. That whole section is a half step higher, and then we go back down to the E, and it's like a kick in the gut.
It gives it a little space,
and just that dirty, distorted bass and everything. Just key in on that before we get back into the lyrics, and I just love that. Every time I hear it, I just love how that just gets right back to the nitty gritty.
I did have another thing about the solo section. We could do that, I don't know, afterwards if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's probably the heaviest moment of the song musically, right
just
there.
when it goes from a higher register back down to a lower one, it's just killer.
Way to lead him back.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my job. Serving the song.
To kind of go to what Bruce was talking about, he said there was like a Cream-esque breakdown. We don't have we took what he said and we kind of looked over the sort of the description, which you can surmise a little bit from it, but as we were writing the song, it became what it became. Despite there's not that part, I think that rhythm and that riff behind the solo, behind the guitar solo, if there was a different sort of a drum beat to it, it could have been Cream-esque. Like if there was a more tribal sounding, whatever kind of thing, it could have been like a Cream kind of a breakdown part. But it just turned into like it had to be just a basic, kind of a straightforward, not trying to step on anything, letting the guitar solo do its thing and just kind of hold down the beat. So just to kind of try to pull it back to Bruce's description, there was thought put into that, but ultimately when you're writing the song, it's like, okay,
you can't just throw a part in that doesn't match.
Yeah, so even though it's not entirely true to what his description was, we tried to keep it close, but it went the way it went.
Oh, you want me again, baby, roll back over, let it begin.
Whew.
Oh, Chris is
All right.
smiling.
So it's what I know you want me again.
Again, so something.
So
the
the
solo is a representation of lovemaking.
It happened. It's almost
not languid lovemaking.
No,
the other
frantic.
Kind.
Yeah.
Not playful.
No. And now she wants you again.
Wait, what is it?
I know you want me again. Roll that over.
Baby, roll back over.
Oh, baby, roll back over.
Let it begin.
Okay.
Okay.
This has been a long episode, but I have to interject here with a story. When I heard that lyric, it just reminded me of this, and I told Nick and Andy that this story was coming. I hope the build-up, it's not disappointing, but it just took me right back to my college days, freshman year in the dorm. So my roommate was having his girlfriend up for the weekend or whatever, and she showed up on a Thursday, and I didn't want any part of that, because they would lay around and watch TV, and it was just a nuisance having her around.
Weird, right?
Her name was Charnel, a white girl named Charnel, believe it or not. I referred to her as sheer hell. So I didn't want any part of that. So I found out that a couple buddies I knew lived in the dorm across the way, like right across the street. And one of them was going home for the weekend, and he'd left that Thursday. So I was like, can I come over and crash at your place? I don't want to be involved in this nonsense that's being happening in my dorm room. He said, yeah. So I went over there and, hanging out. Guess who shows up? His girlfriend.
Oh.
And I'm like, fuck. What am I going to do now, So I was like, whatever. I'm here. I'm just going to crash. And
It's 2 people to a dorm, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we had these lofts. You could build lofts in your room, so the bunks were elevated to give you more floor space.
Yeah.
So we had a loft in our room. They had a loft in their room, whatever. So his girlfriend is there. She shows up. They're, watching TV or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to crash. So I go up in the loft in the bunk, fall asleep. About 45 minutes later, I'm awakened by this incredible gyrating of the loft like it's a fucking earthquake. He is drilling into her directly across from me. They don't even give a shit that I'm there. They was just like, oh, he's asleep. Who cares? Fucking like maniacs over there. Okay, and then they get done.
The whole room is shaking.
The loft is shaking. It was like, built out of wood.
And where are they?
They're in the opposite bunk. I'm over on this side.
Okay.
So it's like you have on either side, and then the middle space is empty or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's and it's up close to the ceiling, so his ass is slapping up against the ceiling. Just a crazy. Just did not care.
Now, is he doing this for your benefit, perhaps?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think
he just didn't.
I don't
this
think
wasn't
yeah.
a hey.
No,
This wasn't. I think Chris will get a kick out of this.
No, they just had to get at it, and they did, and then they got done, and so they're and I can't get back to sleep after this nonsense. But I'm awake and I'm listening to them. They're both laying on their backs next to each other in the bunk, and they're discussing their concerns about him getting her pregnant.
Oh,
okay?
God. Okay.
And just like, I don't remember the nuts and bolts of the conversation, but they're talking about like, how can we avoid getting you pregnant? You know, we don't need this, blah, blah, blah. So they're talking about this, and then just in the middle of the conversation, I just happened to, like, I was trying to get to sleep. I was laying on my side, and I just happened to open up my eyes again. He just rolls over again, pulls one of the thumb in the waistband of his boxers, shoots him down his legs off, and rolls back on top of her and just starts fucking her again. Wow. Right after this prolonged conversation about being worried about getting her pregnant, he just plowed right back in. And just when I heard that roll back over and let it begin, I was like, okay, I'm right back in that dorm room in 1985.
That's a smooth move by that. I'm kind of intrigued by the rolling / thumb in the waistband.
I remember that like it was yesterday. I mean, I got a full glimpse of it.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other detail that Andy will appreciate, I don't know why they had this, but nailed up on like one of the braces of the loft, they had like this 4-inch or maybe like 6-inch by 10-inch mirror with a Philadelphia Flyers logo on it. And as they were fucking, this thing was just like fucking
gonna fall and shatter.
Yeah, just swaying around. And I just kept waiting for it to fall off and shatter. It never did.
Wow.
It was the Cradle of Love video.
Yes, exactly right. So that lyric just took me directly back to that evening, and it's just hilarious.
No, I was trying to anticipate part of what you said before. I thought you were going to go the toilet paper route and say I used to call her Charmel. Isn't that a toilet paper?
Wasn't it
Charmin?
Charmin Cotton.
Oh, Charmin.
Mix. Yeah,
that's why you didn't say it, because I don't know.
It's the wrong toilet paper.
Because I buy generic toilet paper and I don't know.
Nick
what
buys Charmel.
And I don't buy Charmel.
Is that from Aldi?
So anyway, that's my story that with that lyric made me remember, and I'm grateful for it because that was just a hilarious episode.
And I had it probably gave a fraction of a second thought to that lyric. It was just kind of like, okay, this works.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's great.
So the fact that there's a story with that much background,
absolutely, the whole
makes it a lot more interesting.
The rolling over bit is just so great.
Now give me everything you got.
Did the guy say that to the woman?
I don't
maybe
think
she
so.
would have.
There wasn't a lot of talking once they got down to business.
It sounded like this guy was, give me everything, or he's giving her everything.
He's saying, this is kind of, I don't know, the man singing here, whoever that character is, he's telling the woman to give him everything she's got. But then he's going, where it sounds like he's the one doing the thrusting. So,
could have been him.
Yeah.
Like I said, because the loft bunk is close to the ceiling, his ass was slapping up against the ceiling.
That could be the best
fucking
detail.
Hilarious. I remember it like it was yesterday.
I don't know that my bare backside or even clothed backside has ever touched the ceiling.
Wow, yeah, I don't think so. I have to change
you haven't
that.
lived unless your bare ass is slapped up against the ceiling during coitus.
Sweaty bare ass.
Yes, exactly.
Were there ass prints on the ceiling?
I didn't look that closely.
Next morning?
I didn't take a close enough look.
At least like the light wasn't right above them. Could have
been dangerous.
Could have been a hot situation in more than one way.
Shattered the sconce.
Or the Flyers mirror.
Or that, yeah. Picking glass out of his ass hair all night.
Yeah. So bad, but it tastes so good.
I forgot to talk about the drums real quick. I'll just do it fast.
Oh yeah.
I have an acoustic drum kit. It doesn't sound great, and I don't have a lot of microphones in order to try to mic it up and get it to sound really good, and it would have taken a long time. So I ended up using Andy's electronic kit, which is featured in most of our sound clips.
Yeah,
for this
Roland
podcast
TD4,
whatever it is.
Something
yeah,
like
and that's so Andy let me borrow that, recorded it on that, which actually was more difficult to play than an acoustic drum kit. So had to play with more focus than I normally would have.
Yeah.
Just to get all the hits to come out, because you'd hit the side, you'd hit it just off a little bit on the pad, and it wouldn't come up like you wanted it. And then upon listening to it afterwards, I thought everything sounds pretty good to me, except for the snare drum sounds. You can tell it's not a real snare drum.
Yeah.
So what I did is I mic'd up a snare drum and just took 2 drumsticks and played along with it. So it's actually you're hearing the snare drum from the electronic kit, along with it's being doubled by an acoustic.
Oh, that's
snare
pretty.
drum
I
with a
didn't know that.
microphone.
That's what I was gonna say.
To try to get it to sound like an actual authentic snare
Yeah, because I
drum.
was gonna say it's like that actually sounds pretty good for an electronic drum kit, and that explains it. So.
And I was returning that very drum kit after recording this to Andy's back door here in his backyard when his neighbor saw me from across the street, and we had that whole discussion.
Oh, that's right.
Months back about his neighbor saying, getting a little suspicious. There's some guy in your backyard doing something.
That's what
we
that
were,
was.
We were a little nervous. I was going to get shot.
Would this
by his
be?
neighbor.
This isn't the same neighbor that would have questioned. I had like the
edger?
the edger guy.
Oh.
It's like, I had a drum kit like that back in the 70s, and it's still working. What's wrong with you?
You got the Roland? Oh, terrible.
I wish you would have talked to me.
Yeah.
We used Simmons drums pads back in my day.
Yeah. To roll his over.
Yes.
And let it begin.
So just wanted to address that just for just in the spirit of completeness.
Yeah.
Apologies again. You may remember a couple months back, or maybe less than that, the beginning of Pot of Thunder episodes, Andy says, what do you say?
You found it? What?
Yeah. No, well, you said,
I say, oh, yeah.
and then Chris says,
you found it.
You found it. And then I had to say something. We were trying to come up with something.
Oh, yeah.
First one was you should, could, and I knew you would. I was just using almost every single one of those that I've done has been lyrics from this song.
That's right. A little trivia. If anyone was wondering where those came from.
And if anybody was upset about it, that's the reason why I was using these weird cryptic lines. And now that I'm revealing it, I feel almost like Willie D at the beginning of Bald-Headed Hose when he says...
Y'all thought this was Dragnet, didn't you? Wrong answer again. This song is for the mother...
Right, stop there before we go too far.
Yeah.
Unless
like,
you want
I
to
thought
go
I thought this was going to be Dragnet. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Wrong answer again.
Fooled again.
Yeah.
I thought Willie D was going to cover the Dragnet
Yeah,
theme
exactly.
in its entirety.
An outtake from the movie soundtrack.
Would have fit in that movie,
Of
actually.
course it would have.
Yeah. Saw that movie in the theater.
Yeah.
I
Who
was
in that?
very
Is that Ed
young.
O'Neill?
No,
that was the show.
Aykroyd and Hanks.
Aykroyd
I was
Hanks.
very young, and there's a strip club scene.
Ooh.
Very revealing strip club scene. I remember being very young, and all of a sudden this popped up on there.
Every movie in a certain range of years, if it was like above PG-13, had a strip club scene with breasts in it. It was like, all right, we're going to have the strip club boob shot every time. I said Ed O'Neill. I was thinking of the TV show.
Yeah, which was good, too.
Yeah,
I
never
enjoyed
mind.
that show.
Yeah, sorry. That's but like probably 15 years apart, though. All right, here we go. We've got some time to go here.
Oh, we do.
Ask your mama if you don't know how.
You can all
Tom put his head down.
You can all thank Chris for that lyric.
That one I remember right.
That was the other. Well, no, that was the second of 3.
He wrote that while he was in the loft.
Yeah, probably did. Yeah.
Ask your mama if you don't know how.
Scribbling lyrics down as
Yeah.
there's people fornicating.
It's on the shelf for over 30 years. Finally comes
The
out.
rhythmic slapping going on over there.
And this last line of the last chorus is also written by Chris.
Doing it right when you hear me say,
Doing it right when you hear me say, "Ow."
Okay.
That's basically the sound of someone getting sounded at that juncture.
That I for that vocal, the big scream at the end there, that used the same philosophy for Chris's solo, where I had a couple of takes and just had him kind of weave in and out.
Yeah, that's well done. That's the way to go on that.
And speaking of Chris's lead guitar work,
more coming.
There might be a little more happening here.
There you have it.
Very Carnival of Souls-y, the outro lead. It was pretty revenge-y, the playing on the main guitar solo, and at the end we went to Carnival of Souls.
Yeah, well, it was led off by the classic punch in the stomach sound effect from the vocalist, which is something that's missing in most rock and roll these days. And then did a little octave thing into a hammer-on pull-off thing with the whammy bar, sending it down, and then a massive pick slide up the neck and back down, not unlike the trajectory of Vinnie Vincent's tongue in the Boys Are Gonna Rock video. And then closed it out. So that's it.
And that lead part was off the cuff. Chris took about a minute or two to figure out what he wanted to do, and then we hit record.
And there was a section in the middle there that we trimmed out where it came completely unhinged and was not cohesive, but we just shortened it up a bit and blended it together, and it came out great.
Yeah, I think we shortened it up because initially those octaves came in at about the same time that the big vocal scream happened.
Yeah,
and they sort of stepped on each other.
Yeah,
so
and again, we didn't want to.
So Chris volunteered to cut just a couple of seconds off of what he played there,
which was easy for me to do because the part we cut out was a complete catastrophe. It wasn't what I intended to do, but blending the takes or trimming that part out and then pasting them together like that came out really well. So
and Tom was also present during the recording of that magical.
Yeah,
outro.
it was impressive. It was.
Chris just kind of turned his back to us for a couple minutes, and then he said, "Okay, I'm ready."
Yeah,
Wow.
and I think did you go into that thinking Carnival of Souls-ish kind of dark kind of outro? Because I think that was our first initial response. Afterwards, we both looked at each other and we're like, yeah.
But it wasn't. I think all that it was like, I think Chris put the guitar down, and I just asked him, like, do you think, for the outro you could just kind of like maybe just do a couple of fills or something, and I can edit them in there, if it works out. And and then he just I don't know. Did you go to a Carnival of Souls reference or
not really? I mean, that was literally just off the cuff, and that was basically the first thing I came up with, and that was aside from that part that we cut out, that came out great. So just at that point, you listen to it back and you're happy with it. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to attempt anything. I got it there. So.
And you also did you switch guitars on that solo as well? If I
I did. I needed a guitar that had a tremolo on it, so I pulled out the Paul Reed Smith CE22 with a Rio Grande barbecue bucker in it. I believe those are the pickups I hooked you up with for your Epiphone.
Yes, they're still kicking.
Outstanding pickups. So all good. A lot of fun. I've always enjoyed recording, and haven't done nearly enough of it, and I'm very happy with the result.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I enjoy doing.
It is
more than anything else in a creative capacity.
writing, recording, and
recording, performing,
listening
all that
back
stuff.
and headbanging to it.
Yeah, and it's better if it's
That's what we all did.
Yeah.
Collaborative effort. It's better when you can get in that situation. Which, let's face it, at our age, with us having stuff going on, that doesn't happen that often. So I'm very, very grateful I was able to take part in something like that at this point in my life. So.
Yeah, it came out great. I'm pretty happy with it. So hopefully the listeners enjoyed it, and I think the thing to do for the end of the episode is just let the song play through in its entirety, and people can check it out, and then we'll offer it up as a download and probably throw it up on YouTube and all that stuff. And again, hopefully people enjoy it. But it was a fun idea. It was kicking around for 5 years, and we finally got off our butts and made it happen.
And although I played the bass on it, I was more of an outsider than the two of you, as far as you guys completed the song, and then I put a bass part on it. So, and Tom was, the song was completed, and Tom came in and sang on it. So
yeah,
it was
the funny thing was, I was asked to come over and do something. I wasn't even aware of what they were doing.
That's true.
And I came in pretty cold.
Yeah, Tom didn't even know we recorded.
I thought it was just a sound clip or something.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't even know what was going on?
Not really.
No, I played him the song right before.
I was like,
Chris played his part, and then
So you didn't say, "Hey, come over and help sing this thing"?
Well, Nick arranged.
He did, but he didn't say what it was going to be. So I thought maybe it was just a little, sound clip or something.
Yeah,
that you guys were going to do.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up right now.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, and Tom coming and doing the backing vocal was, especially for me, the "Do You Want to Touch Me Now?" that repeated part of the chorus. Having Tom's voice doubled, it
definitely added.
Yeah, it made me happy with it, because I was happy with like the melody of it and what it was doing, but I thought should it have something else along with it. And then when Tom's voice got put together with it, I thought, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's what it needed.
I have to say, what I was getting at as the outsider, I was very impressed with several things, but Nick's lyrics were an absolute slam dunk, where I thought, I didn't think they'd be this good. I knew they'd be good. I didn't think they'd be this good, so that was that. And then, like I said to Chris, I expected it to be that good from, I expected his solo to be good, and it delivered, so...
Well, and I expected the bass to turn out as good as it did. Even though when Andy sent it to me, he's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I tried." And then I listened to it. I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, that's the thing.
You did it.
When I heard the bass, it's like, okay, that's done.
That's good.
No changes at all.
That's the kind of feedback I like.
Whereas Nick and I were going back and forth about cutting this here and changing that up there and remixing and stuff, but the bass was just like, okay, let's dirty it up, and it's done.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
Yeah, it was fun. Never recorded that way before, but I think it came out great. And I didn't know that you did that doubling with the snare drum, because when I heard the drum track as we were putting it together, I'm like, that electronic kit sounds pretty damn good, and it's got to be. It might be probably, well, as you said, it was tougher to play it, but it's got to be easier to record it.
Yeah, definitely.
Much easier to record.
I'm trying to imagine you sitting there play it. I'm just thinking Rick Allen. Of course.
Nick one-armed it.
Well, I'm sure Rick Allen's pretty good at hitting the exact middle of each pad just to get the sound,
Now, Andy, you've recorded with him, with your brother plenty of times. I'd have to say this is probably one of his best vocal performances.
I would say it's the best.
It's probably the best.
Yeah, the best.
You're at your best when
good,
when you've got some gruff to your voice, and it came across.
Yeah,
well
it's like,
and when you're extremely horny.
I was extremely horny.
He had his
for 5 years.
That's why. Yeah,
he had his mind on Sugar Time during that whole take.
Right.
But no, like we talk about with the Kiss, it's like. You can tell when the vocalist is engaged or if they're phoning it in. Nick was definitely in the former category.
Absolutely.
I think we all were, It was, again, we recorded this with the intention of putting it out there, and, I think I speak for you guys in that, you know, I'm not in the business of, you know, putting stuff out that I'm not happy with or that I'm gonna be embarrassed about. I'm really happy with how that came out. You know? Yeah. And the fact that we seem to have captured the vibe of what we were going for is just an extra bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hopefully everybody who listened to this episode wasn't disappointed that they weren't actually going to be hearing Kiss today.
Yeah, right.
But hey, you know, the Kiss version is not out there, so this is
what you get.
This is all you have for now.
For now, yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear feedback. So we'll see how that goes. But hey, whatever it is.
That's just the fucking way it is.
Yeah, you had to put that in there. We're not going to do any kind of voting here. I think we would all give it a hallelujah. I certainly would. But yeah, just our interpretation of what the song might have sounded like, and it was a fun thing to do. So hope you all enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed putting it together, and we'll be back at the Kiss catalog next week.
There you have it.
Hi guys, this is Paul Anka, and you're listening to one of my favorite hangout places, Pod of Thunder. Stay tuned and don't miss it daily. They got it down and they do it my way. Anka, checking out.